よかったら俺と友達になってください。
Hello everybody, Core here, and today I'm reviewing One Week Friends, otherwise known by its Japanese title, Ishukan Friends. Let's get started with the story. The basic premise of this show is that Kaori Fujimiya, due to a traumatizing event in her past, forgets all her friends and anything that transpired with them every week, and not just the memories themselves, but the feelings connected to those memories as well. Due to this, she separates herself from her classmates and does not try to make friends. However, one day Yuki Hase takes an interest in her and becomes determined to be her friend, and each episode generally covers about a week in their lives as he becomes closer friends and reveals more of her past. This is the story. Amnesia is a very basic premise, and this anime doesn't do anything particularly amazing with it. While it does require a bit of suspension of disbelief when it is revealed how she got her incredibly situational amnesia, which in my opinion was a lot less dramatic than it should have been, it was handled about as well as it could without going the sci-fi route. At its base, the show is about childlike friendship, and I almost feel that the show would have been better off and more logical if it had been set in middle school, as the characters, even in their actions and character designs, feel a lot younger than they supposedly are. However, it does handle the aspect of friendship quite well, and it should be commended for focusing so much on just friendship and so little on romance, though that does play into one of my problems. Lack of proper conclusion. Without spoiling anything, I can say this. Rather than giving us a true satisfying ending, signifying their relationship is beginning to become more than friends, they simply sort of end it. That's about as good as I can describe it, but it sort of just ends without a full, satisfying conclusion. Another issue I had, which is sort of a nitpick, but still something that I felt was pretty major, simply put, is why did she not have a diary already? Any human being with half a brain cell would know to record their lives as suffering from amnesia, especially like she has, and any half-witted doctor would recommend she does so. Not a large point in the show, but still I thought it was stretching the bounds of suspension of disbelief. Here's where my main problem starts. These are major spoilers for the show, so if you don't want it to be spoiled, click the skip button. Alright, let's get into it. Due to the show's simple setting and fairly quick plot progression, by episode 8 they had begun to use up any surprises the show had to offer. They had progressed the plot quite a lot, and Kaori's amnesia was beginning to dissipate. After all the emotional attachment we've gotten to the characters and the bonds they've made, what does the show do? Why, erase it all, of course! They introduce Hajime Kuje, someone who is unwittingly partially responsible for the situation causing her memory loss. He is cold to her, as he is unaware that she has memory loss, but knows she didn't talk to him after that. He gets even more angered when he finds out that she doesn't even remember him, and calls her a traitor. This shock causes her to lose her memories again, and once again, her and Yuki's relationship is at square one. This seems like an interesting enough plot twist, no? Well, let me explain why it doesn't work for me. This show heavily points out that memories make who we are. They define our relationship and feelings towards other people. Without them, we are almost nothing. So after seeing this character's growth, resetting it to square one is like pressing the reset button on a console when you've almost beat the game. It's utterly defeating. It makes it feel like all the time was completely wasted, especially considering how it seems like Kaori doesn't and never will truly remember the feelings she experienced during those times again. It almost feels like watching those previous episodes was entirely worthless and is incredibly stupid. This show handled almost everything pretty well, but this was something I just couldn't accept. The cast of One Week Friends is rather small. It consists of Kaori, the girl suffering from memory loss, Yuki, the boy trying to become her friend, Shogo, Yuki's best friend, Saki, who decides, not altogether with Kaori's consent, to be her friend, and Hajime, a later introduced character who is more of a plot device than anything. I have to give the show props for handling character interactions very well. When they just have a friendly chat, it feels like friends having a friendly chat. Kaori and Yuki are both handled very, very well, and my only complaint is that sometimes Yuki seems a bit too overprotective of Kaori, which is addressed but was a strange trait to have in the first place. Other than that, it was very nicely done. However, Saki's character is almost entirely meant to be comic relief, right down to her being forgetful and clumsy. I understand it's necessary for Kaori to start having some more female friends, and Saki sort of acted as the window to that, but I feel they could have made her a bit less annoying. Shogo at first seems mainly comic relief as well, but as it goes on, and the audience who has been wondering why the heck is he Yuki's best friend, begins to see that despite his uncaring exterior, he actually is a pretty nice guy, and he helps his friend out with some very wise advice when he needs it. I really like how they showed us there was, pardon the Transformers reference, more to him than meets the eye. The art in this show is wonderfully done. It does really well to fit the tone and feel of the show. I particularly like the characters' animation and shading, and how well it blends into the lighting of the background. While there was a bit of choppiness, that's to be expected from a rather simplistic slice-of-life romance with not much action. The character designs are really nice, and even though the characters are in high school, the designs make them look a lot younger, which I feel fits the mood and story a lot more. I really like the way they drew the eyes, right down to the glazed-over, forgetful look she gets when her memories reset. Not much to complain about here. Well, I don't have any particularly significant memories, and as I've said before, I don't talk about voice actors unless I found them unbearably bad or shockingly amazing due to my lack of understanding of Japanese. However, there was one thing that was phenomenal. The music. The music. They made use of it very well, and it's really well written. It's a nice simplistic but incredibly well directed sound, with the main focus on a warm piano and an acoustic guitar, with some accompaniment by strings and wind instruments. It's incredibly calming and pleasant, and I think it could definitely be deemed worthy of a listen on its own, if you wanted to sit back and relax to some incredibly pleasant and calming music. Both the opening and ending are nice, though not beyond amazing. If you find you really like the music, there are a few places you can import the mini OST CD that was released in Japan. This show, simply put, is pleasant. Though held back by a kind of disappointing conclusion and a really irritating plot development, at its core, it's a cute story of childlike friendship beginning to become something more. It knows what its focus is and performs it well. I wouldn't say it's particularly revolutionary by any means, but sometimes the show doesn't have to be. It can simply be good, and that's what this show was. I give One Week Friends an 8 out of 10, and my recommendation is to stream it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.
自分の存在価値君がいることでその意味少しだけ分かったような